Hey folks, Don here with McIver Woodworks. Welcome to my shop. Hope you're having an excellent day, and thank you for deciding to spend a little bit of time with me. In my last video, I demonstrated the use of Livos Kunos finish on a couple of bowls that I had turned, and I will leave a link to that video if I can figure out how to do that. I thought that would be a great opportunity, having those two pieces with finish on them, and they've been sitting for about a week, so the finish has had a good opportunity to cure and harden up a little bit. I thought this would be a great opportunity to take a look at the concept of buffing and what that will do to help you increase the performance and the look of your finishes. In fact, I've been trying to think of a way to describe how effective buffing can be for improving your finish, and I've been grasping. I just can't quite get it.
These go to 11.
Yeah, that's it. So have these two pieces. Cool. Okay, so they've got a nice build on the surface. In other words, there's a little bit of a thin coat of the Livos finish that I used on top, and that's going to be just perfect for buffing, because basically what you're doing when you're buffing is you're finishing the finish. So you're not trying to make any changes to the wood itself. You've already done that with your tooling and with your abrasive sandpaper, and now we're just focused on improving the quality of the finish. There's basically two different styles of buffs, and I'm of course going to demonstrate this on a couple of turnings, but this all holds true for flat work as well, for things like jewelry boxes or jewelry or anything you want to buff, really. You've got a wheel buff, and this is great for flat work. It's great for the outside of most turning forms, so I can effectively use this on the outside of a piece like this or on the outside of a bowl. The other style of buffs are called bowl buffs or goblet buffs or mushroom buffs. These guys are actually really good general purpose buffs because I can do the outside of a form with one of these. Works just as well for me as the wheel. But I obviously also can reach inside of a hollow form or open form, which is just not going to really happen with a wheel buff. The other thing you need to know about buffing is that the system for buffing is based on the application of three different compounds to your finished wood surface. And each compound has its own wheel, so you don't cross-contaminate a wheel with the different compounds that you're applying. The first compound is called Tripoli. The second compound we're going to be using is called White Diamond. And then the third and final step with buffing is Carnauba wax. So with that, let's get going. I have a number 2 MT adapter that fits into the head of my lathe, and that's how I drive my buffs. There are many variations on this theme. I'm mounting the first buff for Tripoli. You can see it's already stained, and turning the lathe up to about 2000 RPMs. If you use the 8-inch wheel buffs, the manufacturer recommends 1725 RPMs, but the smaller diameter mushroom buffs can spin a bit faster. Charge the wheel with a little bit of Tripoli and then go to town, and basically you want to apply fairly firm pressure with the Tripoli abrasive, and be sure to keep a death grip on whatever it is that you're buffing, because the buffs will attempt to rip the object out of your hand and throw it across the room, preferably onto a concrete floor where it will shatter into 1,000 pieces after all of your hard work. Don't ask me how I know this. So I make sure that I hit both the inside and of course the outside of the piece. Switch over to the birch bowl while I've got the same Tripoli buff on the wheel. So if you have a whole bunch of pieces ready to go, you can basically do this assembly line fashion where you do everything you have on the Tripoli wheel, then switch over to the white diamond wheel, charge a little bit of white diamond, and it does not take much, and you're off to the races. The white diamond takes a slightly lighter touch. You actually just want to kiss the buffing wheel with whatever object you're buffing. Next, on to the carnauba wax, again charging the buff with some carnauba, and lather, rinse, repeat. Okay folks, well that's just exactly how uncomplicated buffing is. So I highly recommend you add it to your repertoire. It takes a fairly small investment of resources to purchase the buffs that you need, and maybe a mandrel for your lathe. If you don't have a lathe, you can certainly use a dedicated motor, like a grinder set up to accommodate your buffs. Personal protection equipment is important. The buffs are throwing off fibers of cotton. You don't really want to breathe that. You don't want to breathe any of those grinding compounds as they're thrown into the air. So I had my dust extractor running, mask on, and also protective face mask. Because the other thing about this is that when you are holding a piece on the lathe to buff it, you are the chuck, you are what is holding the piece of your valuable woodwork that you've put all that time into, gotten this far with it, and the buffs will love to catch a corner, rip a piece right out of your hand and send it flying across the room, hopefully not flying into your face. So, protective equipment, keep a tight grip on whatever it is that you're buffing. I do have an article on buffing that was published in American Woodturner. It's on their website, and I'll also leave a link to a copy on my website. I really hope this was helpful. Thanks so much for stopping in. Please subscribe, hit the like button, check back often. I'll be posting more content for you. Have a good day.